to go ahead and kick it off. Hello, welcome. Thanks for joining us today for cracking the OAS CAHPS code. I know I need it cracked for me, so I'm looking forward to learning lots of stuff today. I'm Taylor, the marketing manager for rater8, and I'm just here to point you to the Q&A, which can be found in your controls at the bottom of your screen next to the raise hand button. If at any time during the webinar you have a question, feel free to type it into the Q&A box, and Sandy will try to get to it in the moment. And if she doesn't, we will have time to go over all of your questions at the end of the presentation. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Evan.
Okay, thank you, Taylor, and thanks for organizing this and putting it together. I'm Evan Steele, the founder and CEO of rater8. And when I first started the company, we didn't do the online reputation piece. We did surveys, so kind of surveys and patient feedback and patient satisfaction is in our DNA. So, you know, as time goes on and CMS makes new rules, regulations, we now understand that starting in January 2025, there's going to be a requirement that ambulatory surgery centers that you own will have to do those government type of OAS CAHPS surveys. So, yeah, we had to decide, do we want to go build a CAHPS survey system or just work with another vendor who is expert at it? And we decided the latter. So we met Sandy Baker and RMS Research, and I feel, I've been in the healthcare IT business for many, many, many years, 27 or 8 now. And, I've met Sandy, I've met the president of RMS, the founder and the president of RMS, and I've got a real good feel about the company, the level of expertise, which I know is going to shine through today. And we feel at rater8, having done a thorough vetting process, we talked to many different vendors who are certified by CMS to provide these types of surveys. I'm confident that Sandy and RMS and their team are going to do a great job, and you guys will be in capable hands with the surveys. As we discuss or work with RMS, we're looking for even a deeper relationship where you just call us, we take care of everything for you, and then RMS becomes the back end, the actual survey processor who does all the surveys for you and then reports the results on the registry with CMS. So we have Sandy here today, Sandy Baker. She's their vice president of business development. How many years now? 18? Wait, how many years have you been there? Not 18.
So I've been here 12. The company's 21 years old. Yeah.
Okay, so you're almost a teenager there, and that's a long time to be at one job. So you must really like the company and what they do. Yeah, and that's a great sign. When people are there for many, many, many years, that's a great sign that you're working for a great company. So I'll let you introduce yourself, and hopefully you can do a good job, as good a job educating rater8, me, educating those on the call today.
Thank you, Evan and Taylor and Emily. It's just been a delight to already partner with you in so many different ways. We've been very excited about the webinar today. Thanks for everybody who's joining. So I'm Sandy Baker. I'm the Vice President of Corporate Development here at RMS, which stands for Research and Marketing Strategies. I'll tell you a little bit more about the company in a minute. My background, I'm a former county legislator, and I actually chaired the health committee. So I have lots of great insight into what the organizations are going through in so many different ways. I've been with this company for 12 years, and my whole background is in business and marketing. And so this is a great opportunity, and I've really enjoyed that as well. So there we are. That's who we are. So I'm going to jump right into it. I thought it was super nice of the whole country to send out a reminder 10 minutes before our event today to let everybody know. So I'm sure everybody's phones were ringing and everything.
That was 12 minutes before, just to let you know.
I'm like, wait a minute. So you all made it here. And I love the title, Cracking the Code. There is a lot to learn about this. And so CMS basically said, how can we measure the experience of care in hospital outpatient departments and ambulatory surgery centers? How can we encourage quality initiatives to improve patient experiences? And how do we allow consumers to really make informed choices when choosing where to have their surgery, and have something that's publicly available to look at all of this data? So introducing the Outpatient and Ambulatory Surgery Survey. It is a survey that collects information about the patient experiences in HOPDs, or ambulatory surgery centers. Now, I wanted just to step back. There are two entities. So if you are here representing a hospital that has a hospital outpatient department, those surveys are going to be mandated in 2024. If you're part of an ASC, an ambulatory surgery center, those surveys are going to be mandated in 2025. I will tell you that a lot of organizations are already working with us or with a vendor in doing these surveys now. It's in your best interest, number one, to make sure that your patients are experienced and how this is all going to happen, as well as your staff and your team. The other important piece by doing it early is the opportunity to get that data so that before it goes publicly reported, you get some sense of where are we doing well and where is there room for improvement. So for the HOPD, CMS is looking to have 300 completes a year. And for the surgery center, they're looking for 200 surveys to be completed per year. Those numbers are important because that's going to help us determine how many patients each month will we survey to meet those goals. Now, if you have less than 60 patients, you can file for an exemption. So far, so good.
Yep. Sandy, there's Lucian asked a question. Hey, Lucian.
Okay.
Can you please clarify whether 300 completes per year for hospital departments is for each department or an aggregate?
It's the aggregate. It's the total for the whole hospital. And so you'll see, that's a great question. And there are some, I'm going to step back a little because some of you may remember this, but in 2017, CMS originally talked about making this mandated. And we had hundreds of surgery centers that we had already signed up that were already in the process to start this OAS CAHPS surveys. And then right before, they decided that they were going to wait and postpone that. And so it was postponed. There's a little thing called COVID. So here we are back getting ready for 2024 and 2025. So now this applies to you, whether you're an HOPD or an ASC, if you perform procedures that range, and there's a range of survey codes, the CPT-4 codes, and you can find them on our website. You can find them on the CMS website. If you're Medicare certified, you have to have a CCN. You bill under these two systems, the ASC payment system or the outpatient payment prospective, the OPPS. You participate in the reporting of the ASC QR or the OQR, and you already have an agreement with CMS. So if you meet those, this is a good place to be because we are going to help you walk through step by step what is going to happen. So a little bit about us. We are a full service market research firm. We are located in a beautiful little village called Baldwinsville, New York. It's in central New York. It is a gorgeous, sunny, warm day here. It's almost 90. It's so crazy. We've been in business since 2002, and we are a CMS approved CAHPS vendor for a wide variety of these patient satisfaction surveys. The first CAHPS survey started in 2006, and we were one of the first vendors approved to do those for hospitals. About 75% of our business is in healthcare. We also work with a wide variety of other organizations and businesses, from finance to education to retail to Sesame Street to Toyota. We have a focus group right here in our building. We have a call center. We have everything that you need to do anything from employee surveys to patient satisfaction surveys to focus groups. A wide variety of market research. We've been named one of the top patient satisfaction survey vendors in the country from Modern Healthcare for the last 10 years, and we've been in the top 10. We are not the largest. We don't want to be the largest. We have a great business, and we are known for our high response rates, but even more importantly, having great customer relations with our clients. We actually have the first client that we ever started with in 2020 and 2002, and we love saying that. And it was a healthcare client. So we currently conduct a wide variety of these patient satisfaction surveys from clinician and groups, specialty care, behavioral health, emergency departments, hospital, home health, hospice, dialysis facilities. And now we're excited to add these outpatient and ambulatory surgery centers to our long list of projects that we work on. So what's on the OAS CAHPS survey itself? There are 34 questions on the survey. They range from asking your patients about their preparation for the surgery or their procedure. What was the check-in process like? How was the cleanliness of the facility? They ask about communications with the facility staff. How was the discharge? Preparing for the recovery at home, possible side effects. All of those are a wide range of questions within that. And then there are two what we call global rating questions. So they're going to ask a global rating about the facility itself. And then there's a question, and it's really, would the patient recommend the facility? Again, all of this information then is publicly reported so that your results will be shared and people will be able to review those. So what you need to know. First, if you're moving forward with this, you're going to have to designate an OAS CAHPS survey administrator. Once that happens, and this is this great partnership potentially, with rater8, but we have to get the data from each facility on a monthly basis. We provide a secure FTP site. We survey monthly. Again, there's 34 questions on the survey. We can conduct those in English and in Spanish. If you choose the mail-only version, we can do that in Chinese and Korean as well. Once you decide who you're going to work with, and you have to work with a CMS approved vendor, and we hope it's us, you have to register and authorize the vendor with the CMS approved vendor with CMS. And then there are 5 modes and 5 ways that you can conduct the survey. I'm going to talk about those next. And then each quarter, RMS submits that data to CMS, and then on an ongoing basis, all of that is data publicly reported. That data is publicly reported on Medicare.gov. So now let's talk about the modes. And this is where it gets really interesting. OAS CAHPS is going to be the first CAHPS series that it's going to be mandated, but it's the first one that they're actually allowing online and web. So there are 5 different options, and we will determine how many patients we will survey, and it's different for each option depending on the number of completes that you're looking for. So whether you're a hospital or an ASC. So for mail only, those surveys, what will happen is every month we will get the data from the facility. We randomly select a certain number that will be surveyed. If you choose mail only, those patients will get a survey in the mail. And in a perfect world, they would fill it out and I'll send it back. That does not happen. But if they did, your life would be easier, ours would too. And once we get that, if they don't complete the survey, then we send a second mailing out. And there are certain timeframes that we have to do that by. We send this survey along with a postage paid envelope as well. So if you choose the telephone only survey, we do all of the calls using our own team here, and those calls are made, and we have to make up to 5 telephone call attempts. We call it different times of the day, different days of the week. We have to follow the script exactly as it is written. And I'm just going to back up a little. We will survey, if we go telephone only, we'll survey between 70 and 105 patients. I'll back up. On the mail only, we'll survey between 95 to 140 patients. Your mail only is typically your least expensive. It's also your lower response rate, typically. And then the next mode is your mixed mode, and that's a mixture of your mail and phone calls. So we'll send a mailing out to all of the patients that are surveyed. We'll survey up to 45 to 70 patients a month to meet your numbers. And if they don't fill out the survey by mail, we'll make up to 5 telephone call attempts to reach the patients. The mixed mode is typically your highest response rate. And then the next mode that you can choose from is web to mail. So if you are really great about collecting email addresses from your patients, the web to mail and the web to phone may be a good option. So if we do have emails and they're good emails, those patients will get an email with the link to complete the survey. We'll send up to 3 different emails at different times, but then we follow it up with the mail survey for whoever hasn't completed that. And then the web to phone is, again, we'll do up to 3 email invitations. And then again, we'll follow up with up to 5 phone calls. So I know this is a lot. Like I said, this is the first time that CMS has allowed these online opportunities. So if you're really good, and this may be a great time to implement capturing emails from your patients if you haven't been, because it's a really good opportunity to easily reach out to your patients. So far, so good. I hope so. So then once we do all of that, you'll have access to all of the data on an online portal. And the portal is very easy to use. This is just some screenshots of what you can do is from looking at your results. You can print the options, you can download them, you can sort them by composite categories. There are those 5 different areas where the questions are. You can sort it by question, you can sort it by date, you can sort it by provider, you can sort it by location if you have several locations. It gives you a lot of different options, and it's easy to use. We put our phone number right there, so you can call us at any time if you need us to help and walk through anything as well. And then again, and I'm sure it's really small on your screen, but I just wanted you to easily be able to see, this is just a sample page of having the composite area. So the first composite area is questions about the facilities and staff. And you'll see that each of those, these are the questions that are related to that area. And you'll see your each month of your scores, and then you'll see the trend. Are you staying the same? Are you increasing your scores? Are you decreasing your scores? So obviously it's an area where you can share with your team, where are you doing really well? And where is there some area for improvement? So this is another reason why organizations are deciding to start the survey process sooner rather than later, so that you'll have access to this information before this actually goes out into the world. And that's where, Evan, I know I loved our conversation, but that's where your reputation management, all of the services that you offer really make a difference as well. So that's a little bit on the portal and what you would have access to. And, we can't say enough about how nice it was, the relationship and the discussions we've already had with rater8. But one of the things I think that they were looking for is, why would they want to partner with us? And I appreciate the kind words. We have an outstanding reputation. We are a CMS approved vendor. We offer affordable and flexible pricing because we are offering all 5 of the modes that are available. We put strategies in place to help you improve the performance and your response rates. CMS comes in on a regular basis, and they call them site visits. And they just go through step by step all of our processes. And we have passed with flying colors every single time that they've come. We have met every deadline. And that's what our clients really appreciate as well. You have 24/7 access to the portal at any given time. We provide great collateral so that your patients will know they may get a survey. So we'll provide branded posters that you can put up in waiting rooms. If you have monitors, we can provide you videos that you can put up. We can provide information to make sure that your team, your staff really understands the process as well, so that they can answer any questions. If you choose the telephone mode, whether it's the phone only, the mixed, or the web to phone, we only use professional interviewers. They're completely trained. We do not do robocalls. We are fully HIPAA compliant, and we have high response rates. And again, are really what we're known for is the customer service potential and the connections that we have in making that work really well for you if you have any questions. So I know that's a lot of information, and I tried to keep it kind of at a higher level. And I don't know if there's any other questions that might have come in. Feel free to
Yeah.
reach them out. And Evan, what did I miss? I know sometimes it's a lot to process.
No, no, I think that's perfect. And you know, your presentation reflects the clear thinking I think that your company has and your approach to, you know, how to get these surveys done in a high quality way. By the way, is robocalls allowed? You just don't do them, or?
I do believe it's called IVR, and I believe that they can do that, and so that it automatically goes through. And then you all know, if you pick up your phone, you hear the click, 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 or there's a long delay. We don't do that. It goes right to a real person. But it is acceptable, and they can choose that option. We don't offer that.
All right, that's great. I wouldn't want to offer that to any of my patients. So another question, Lucian, regarding response rates. Just, you know, he finds that when you survey patients closer to the time of the encounter, in this case the surgery, you know, within a week you get a better response rates than once a month. Do you do more frequent surveying, or do you find that the monthly is just the right amount, gets you the results you need? Or
It's a great question. For the other lines, or if it's not mandated, you're right. The sooner that they get the survey, absolutely, it's a higher response rate. However, in following the protocols that are outlined by CMS that we need to do, it's monthly. So we have to get, and don't quote me on this one, but I think it's maybe by the 7th of the month, we have to get all of the patient data of the month prior. So if you were going to start in October, November 7th, we would have to have all the patient data, and we would go right into the field to start the surveys for those that had a procedure in October.
but you still recommend once a month once things are rolling?
We would love to do it. CMS requires for the OAS CAHPS survey to do it on a monthly basis.
But do it at a minimum of a monthly basis? You could do it every week if you want, or is that what they require to do once a month?
We're required to do it once a month. I will go back and just check to see if that is a little different with the OAS. For the other ones, typically it's once a month.
Okay. Okay, very good. Any other questions? I know we have 42 people on this call, and I know there's a few rater8ers, but please feel free to ask your questions now. I know the presentation was thorough, pretty straightforward.
Sorry, I just realized I was going through the slides, but I will tell you that on our website, and there's also a CMS OAS CAHPS page, and they're constantly being updated. At this point, there is the conversation that there will be a penalty involved if you do not participate. They have not indicated what that true penalty will be. Typically, for the other CAHPS line, it's usually a 2% on your reimbursement rate. But they originally came out in June and it had a 2%. And then in July, it took that out and it said it will be updated in a final rule by November. And we check it every single day. Like literally this morning, we went on just to see if there was any update on that. So there has not been. So we will keep everybody posted, you know, once that is.
I mean, we did some calculations on our call. 2% is of your Medicare reimbursements in a surgery center. It far exceeds the cost of the effort to put into this program. And it just brings me back to the e-prescribing days. I don't know if people, old timers on the phone, there wasn't a lot of adoption. There actually used to be a 2% incentive, but as soon as CMS put a 2% penalty for not e-prescribing, that's what really drove the adoption. So I think CMS understands that, and we'll see what they do. I hope they don't penalize, but we'll see what comes out of it. Jenny, we love rater8, and I probably missed this. Well, thank you, Jenny. But will we get to have a mix of CAHPS surveys and a regular rater8 sent out without redundancy, so we don't get frustrated patients? I'll answer that first, then I'll let Sandy answer it. rater8 surveys are micro surveys. It's a survey and just a few four questions, 5-star scale. It literally takes a few seconds, to complete the survey. The CAHPS surveys are much, much longer and robust, right? They're either on paper or phone call or even email. They're 30+ questions. So it's a different animal. And if I was a patient, I would, and then rater8, it routes the patient most of the time, depending on your percent splits, but most of the time you're even skipping the survey and you're just going to the online review site. So I would look at them as a conflict or a little overlap, but not a lot. That's just my gut feel. What do you think of that, Sandy?
So we do get asked this a lot, or we get asked because we only survey a certain number of patients. We do have some organizations that want to survey all of their patients. We can survey any number of patients, but we have to do enough to make sure that we hit either the 200 or the 300. We also have organizations so that we would just do the minimum to get to those completes. You could continue certainly going back out because, to your point, your surveys are quick, easy, short. We have to do all 34 questions. We have to do all of that whole process. So it is very different in that regard. And so you could easily still do that. I can tell you now that, for example, just yesterday, Monday, we have a hospital, and that's exactly what they do. They do their own. We cannot, however, tell you who was selected who was randomly selected to go through the CAHPS surveys. We are not allowed to release that to anybody. So if you wanted to do other surveys, you would pretty much do them to everybody,
right,
unless you were to randomly select them too. But we cannot release who was surveyed.
So Jenny, I would just say, fortunately, rater8 is very light touch on the survey. So if we had 30 question surveys and then they send it, then the patients are like, what's going on? I'm getting overloaded. But I'm hoping at least for the fraction of you patients that do get actual surveys and don't go just to right to the review site, that they're not going to look at it as a big burden. So we'll leave it at that. Lucian wants to know, what questions do you find scored lowest by patients?
That's a really great question. And I would actually want to ask the healthcare operations team, and I will definitely find that out. And I was looking on here to see, this is just the quickest one, but at a glance, if I was going to look, and it's that very, very last one, and I don't think you can see it, but I know that that's one. It says, before you left the facility, did your doctor or anyone in the facility give you the information about what you, if you had nausea or vomiting? It may be, very specific, but when you know that there are certain areas, all of a sudden you can do training within your organization, because maybe that was a question that's never been asked, so you've never gotten feedback, and maybe that would be something that would go in the training. Now, I'm just looking at this at a high level, but I'm going to go back and ask the team if they can share that with me. And I'll probably do both. I'll say, what's the one that scores typically the highest, and what's the one that scores the lowest?
That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
And maybe we could just put that in the webinar follow-up. I know we're going to put a link. Susan Scruggs. Hey, Susan. I know Susan from Ortho, Georgia. She wants to know if you could download the patient information that you need for the survey from Athena, or does it be entered manually? Sandy, I think I know this. I've seen it's more data, like you need CPT codes, but all that's available in Athena, and you would create a report that would generate that for you, that data.
Correct. And that's really what we've talked about with the partnership with rater8. If you have access to that, and if you're working with rater8, they may be able to be that conduit, and it would just come directly from them as well. We provide, here's the information we need. There isn't, we'll make it as easy as possible. And then it just becomes I don't want to say a push of a button, because it always, but typically it's relatively easy once you get it all set up.
Okay. Yeah, so once you have that report and it's identified and you save it as a saved report, it should go pretty smoothly. Point of clarity, this is just for Medicare patients, right? We're not taking your 45-year-old who's on Cigna and sending them a survey. Is that right?
Say that again.
This is just, you're surveying just Medicare patients. You're not surveying a 45-year-old patient who has Cigna health insurance.
Correct. They have to, I shouldn't say that. I think it's as long as they're 18 and over, as long as they're through. I'm gonna check on that. I don't want to answer. I don't want to
Oh, okay. So
say the
you're
wrong
you're
thing.
saying you might even be able to take your commercial insurance patients and include them to get to the 200.
I'm gonna check on that.
Okay, it's a good question, Lucian. Thank
Yeah.
you. And we could follow up on that with you. Or in the follow-up email, we could just put the Q&A answers. Do you offer assistance? This is from an anonymous attendee on how to improve scores.
So certainly that's something that we have access to. We have a whole team that can offer consulting. If that's something that is, you know, that we can look at those scores, we can provide training both to increase the response rate as well as the scores themselves.
Okay, so that's part of your consulting business.
Yes.
Great. Wow, good participation from the audience on the questions. Any other questions? No need to stay the full scheduled time if we could respect everyone's time if there's no more questions, which it looks like there's none. So, Sandy, you did a wonderful job.
Thank you.
It's all the complex stuff has been done by RMS under the hood, right? They do all the calls and the reporting. And really, all you have to get them is that spreadsheet with the report once a month. We're actually talking with RMS that all our clients will send it to us because you upload reports with us. We have a way of communicating, sending PHI securely here at rater8. So the idea is just send it to us and then we can compile it into one spreadsheet and runs once a month and send it to them securely. So you could still, the idea is what we want is you guys to work with, one company, not have to deal with two companies to get the data, just one company, and then they're going to be the back end, do the whole back end. And I think they've simplified that process as much as you can.
Very much so. And again, we're available to answer any questions that you have. I will follow up and I'll get those to you, Evan and Taylor and Emily, so that you can share it with those that participated as well.
Okay, great. Thank you for your time, Sandy.